Like we done started.
Recording in progress.
All right. Greetings, 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 family, friends, and the world. This is Mikael Eric Harris, better known as the Juice, also known as the Alkaline Water Guy. How is everyone doing on this second part of Mikael's Knowledge of Truth? And we're calling tonight Ancient Culture with Yama. Ancient Culture with Yama. My boy, my brother from another mother, practically. We've been knowing each other for quite some time. The brother know his culture and know who he is and who his tribe is. My brother named his American or whatever, what you would like to call it, or whatever he called it. When I met him, his name was Keith Riddle, but his native tongue, or native, not tongue, but his native name is Yama. And I'll let him tell more about that. But we was actually, I was getting ready to go into some history on information according to where we at today in history and what has happened and why we have been asleep and why we have been put to sleep according to prophecy. And then my brother Yama came in and he started giving information according to, but before that, I was giving him props that he shared with me about how to speak how to speak. I was giving him props and letting him understand because we've been knowing each other for years. And when I met him, he was giving me an inner and understanding of what words that how should I say this? What words we we I think I can say suppose. We're supposed to be talking, how we're supposed to be talking. So instead of saying the words don't, not, won't, stop, and all that, because those have negative connotations, and also they actually keep you on a lower vibration. He helped me understand this in my days when I was in Atlanta, when I was on my spiritual walk, my spiritual journey. When I met him, he helped me understand some things, and also he knows his culture. He knows his native language. He knows his culture. He knows his people. He knows his tribe compared to the ones who fell asleep. And that's a big difference according to the conversation that I like to share, and that's what I'm sharing with us. Because by him knowing who he is and the things that has happened with him compared to us who have went to sleep according to prophecy, is two different situations. So what I'm trying to get what I'm trying to share is those who went to sleep according to prophecy, no matter how the names was changed, how things was altered, the process is still the same. But according to him knowing who he is, that's just like, I don't want to say a name out because I know Keith can Yama can kind of correct the situation because certain names was given to certain people, and this how you control. This how they took over the seven mountains or the seven heads, the seven-headed dragon, which is the continents. They took over the whole world. By them taking over the whole world, they changed everything. And this is where we have to get the concept to understand the whole world has been changed. It says even in Revelations 12:9, Satan has deceived the whole world. If you don't know who you are, you have been deceived. If you've been living in a way that you don't know, that you think you know, if you close your eyes or you're speaking English and this is all you knew, you have been deceived. You're speaking a language that's not yours. You're speaking in a tongue that don't belong to you. So if this is all you know, and this is what you've read from your birth until you're almost to the tomb, you have been deceived. Let me get my brother over here. My brother staying his back, but I got to put you on pause for a minute there. So the point that I'm getting at is that my brother Yama, he knows his culture. He knows his heritage. He knows, and that's a difference. That's just like a person over here, a seal, we'll call it, a seal knows that he's a seal compared to a penguin just being called a bird. Well, you're human, but you have an identity, but you don't know your identity. We're the penguins, but he's the seal. He knows that he is a seal according to the word. So by him knowing he is seal, he knows how to go down. He knows what to do, how to do. He knows his culture. He knows his origin and place where he stays at in the earth. He knows who he is compared to these birds who has an identity as a penguin. They don't know that they're penguins. They just walk around in tuxedos, called a bird. That's the difference. Spiritually, the Creator has blessed me to understand everything that we're talking about. That's why I'm here to wake up the lost that don't see spiritually. But he can tell you physically what he know, the language, the information. He knows it physically because he's there. He knows his language. He knows his culture. He knows those things. But the spirit of the Creator has given me the understanding the things that he's even talking about. So I love my brother Yama, who's sharing the information he's sharing with us tonight. So this is open conversation for the second time. Usually I'll be sharing other information, but this is special. No different than tomorrow. Just want everybody to know, since we're here. Tomorrow in the Rising, we have Introduction to Sovereign Class of Knowledge at 7:30 a.m. If anybody's interested, we're on Zoom only. Zoom only. That's private. It's not public. It's in the private. And also, that's 7:30 a.m. And then we're also on tomorrow night at 9 p.m. on Zoom only. It's not public. It's private. So it's on Zoom and Zoom only. I don't put that information out in the public because we're on a whole different level when it comes to that. So other than that, my brother Yama, come on back in and share what you was about to share, bro. Man, this is a beautiful night. A lot of information coming out and a lot of knowledge is being shared tonight by a brother who knows his heritage. All right?
Sure. So I'll just start with some of our, how we do it in our tradition. So we don't divide for example, when you go study the word physical, that doesn't mean what people think it means. If y'all go type etymology of physics and then the etymology of spirit, the real thing that's happening here is the spirit. This is the spirit. And so what ended up happening, they took the Lkhyym and physique and they turned that into where they studied the body. They tried to make the body separate from the breath. The body and the breath are tubes. One is a cup and one's takes in the air. If you can't take in that air, you're not here, because that's how we're here. So I'm definitely want you to know I'm not talking about physical things. I'm talking about the spirit, which is the only thing. The fifth spirit is very much physical.
Okay.
There's another thing too. Just throwing this out at you too. The Babylon spell, it makes people talk. They don't know the words they speak. Because we just say these words, but like for example, what's the definition of love? We use that word all the time, but do we know the English definition of the word love? So I had to learn it. It means the unconditional want for the good of another, definition one of collegiate dictionary. So what ends up happening is back in the day, there was this computers that got really popular, Microsoft and Apple. And when those two computers got rich and successful, they had two different languages. And so when people got to be big, they tried to send their people an email. They couldn't send their people an email because the computers had different languages. They didn't have a protocol. And so when I studied law, of course, I studied law from a judge. That was in our tribe, Sabbath father. And so I sat down and went to the law school and all that. And we have to learn the difference of what they say, how to leave Babylon. So we start knowing what we're saying. So in essence, like I have to learn words with their meaning. So when I just use it, I'm just not using the word and think I know what I'm saying. Because when you do that, what ends up happening, I might say the word love, and you might know the word love. And don't get me wrong, babies can know the word love. You can feel it.
That's true.
At the same time, everybody got their own way of showing it, and they got their own definition. But if you don't got a common definition, you don't know what to expect. And so what happens when you have law conversations, y'all have to weigh the words like Ma'at. And if y'all ain't weighing the words and y'all know what the words you're saying, So I just wanted to let you know, like, I don't, I'm come from a whole nother tradition. We don't believe in the ghosts. And all of that's one thing. It's, you can, it's a very thing you can see, and there's things above human sight. For example, you can't see carbon dioxide, but it'll kill you if you smell it. And there's all types of things that are above human sight that are there. And so those are all physical things. Everything's matter. And so my thing is, when God moved, for example, say like we're going to use the Hebrew tradition and say the Spirit of God moved across the face of the waters.
Right.
And then you would see, a big storm move across the face of the waters, then suddenly lightning strikes because that's static electricity. There's light without a sun. Well, my thing was, these are physical things. These are real. I don't use the word physical very often because I don't like it.
Okay, hold on one moment, my brother. I'm going to let somebody in, so I got to see who, because they haven't put a name in, so I got to make sure if they're not coming in trying to disrupt. Okay, one moment. Just hold your thought. Huh?
That's somebody I invited.
Are you sure? Okay, they should have put their name in. Anytime y'all invite anybody, make sure they put their name in, because I'm still going to check it. Okay, because I want to make sure. All right, hold on one moment.
Recording stopped.
One moment. All right, iPhone. Can you unmute yourself and tell me who you are? iPhone. Can you unmute yourself and tell me and say who you may be, because you don't have a name here. iPhone going once. I'm gonna have to take you out. iPhone going twice. See, you got another one coming in. See, I don't know who these people are, and they come in, they'll put some explicit stuff up in to mess up my whole hookup. So hold on one moment. Let me go here. I'm gonna put both of them in, but I'm gonna take them both out too. iPhone, who may you be? Can you tell me who you are? Okay, other iPhone, what's your name? Say something. You unmuted. All you gotta do is speak. Going once. Going twice. Okay, you gotta go. They don't say nothing. I gotta put them out. All right. My bad, everyone. I gotta make sure, because I gotta make sure my stuff being messed up too many times, and I'm not allowing. And some of the people on here know what I'm talking about. So hold on.
Recording in progress.
All right. So excuse me, everybody. I apologize for that pause right then. I don't mind letting people in, but I got to know who they are, and they got to have their name up. And if you're inviting, please let me know who's coming in so I know who they are. But if I start recording and then they put up the explicit stuff, it'll messed up my whole program. So other than that, my brother Yama, go ahead and finish up, my brother. Thank you.
So I just wanted to share with you the ancient spiritual. I don't even like using that word tradition. Is that it just because you can't see it doesn't make it not there.
I agree.
So it's not visible to the eye because the eye only sees in the small nanometers of electromagnetic waveforms. So there are things walking around, moving in other waveforms that you can't see. There's chemicals, matter, all that stuff exists beyond the vision. So what ends up happening is that there's a reality to the breath. There's a reality. And that reality, it ain't on the other side, and it's this side. So a lot of times, especially this was, the matriarchs in our family were the queens or the haladas. And then what ends up happening, they'll talk about, we don't do that because, my granny, she was real crazy about, she said, hey, baby, before they brought all of that Buddha, Allah, and Yeshua over here, came from the stars. And one day we went out to do a prayer, a special ritual. And the star people, like we got some excess. But the thing is when they get you to divide yourself and you see yourself as an object, that's another way they win. When you actually are breathing. In fact, if you just stop doing that right there, you won't be able to listen to me no more, because guess what? You can't put it's if you don't have that. So like when I talk, I'm always talking from that holy place. Of course, I have my joke days, but at the same time too, when it comes to having, I'm glad you're cleaning up because a lot of times this information is hidden. The reason why I don't go do a lot of talking, the reason why I'm here is because of my brother, and I told my brother, I'm really shy. I don't need, talking because we don't need to impress anybody or have an audience because we run things. And we run things because we know how to hold power. You can hold power just like, for example, by fixing your credit and by working with your community and doing what they call wafa, which is sharing and working as one, you know? So I think I guess, what would they call that in, say like that Kwanzaa condition, where you come in here, when you got two folks, three folks that share, for example, the difference from a neighborhood and a community. A neighborhood, they don't have a common chest. They don't save nothing. They all go to a job and come back, and they don't have a plan for the neighborhood because they don't own it. A community, however, they got a community chest. You'll see that in the Monopoly game, and they all share programs and plans.
You there, Keith?
Can you hear?
Oh yeah, cause you fell off for a second. You said programs and plans.
Yeah, they get together, have programs and plans and all that. Hold on, don't go anywhere. That's my mama calling me late now. I don't want to be on the
Okay,
phone. Let me just tell you.
okay.
Don't go anywhere.
While you were saying that, I just wanted to share with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly, but when it comes to words, because we know that a lot of words that the people and the masses use today are not correct. Just like we know the word, what is that word? Nice. A lot of people think nice is one thing compared to what it really is. It's really the opposite of good, in a sense.
Nice nasty. Nice nasty. In
And
fact, I used to live in England, and that's how they used to say it. In fact, what they would do is, for example, they could tell if he was from a peasant class, because what's the difference from a sofa and a couch? And all the poor people wouldn't know the difference because the words mean something. They have a definitive thing, and it's supposed to pull up a particular thing in your mind. So if you're not able to do that and you become undefinitive, that's how you lose at the court because you don't know what the word means. And so you, for example, if you don't know how important innocent is, you will sign not guilty, and now you just admitted your guilt because you put not in front of guilty, but you didn't say innocent.
that's how I won all my cases. That's one of the reasons why all my cases they wanted me to put not guilty or no, and I would never sign none of that. And plus, I wouldn't sign nothing. I had
Yeah,
8 cases. I don't know if I ever told you about the cases I had.
yeah, you did, and I tell you this: one of the easy way to the reason why is that courts can't afford. If, for example, they bring you to a charge, now not every jurisdiction is like this. Some go hard. Some just are so large if they know that they can't, it's going to cost them money. So that if you're saying something de jure, which means by your right instead of de facto, which is the fact, it's written right there. It says not guilty. You can sign there. It's the fact. But your de jure, the law says say innocent, say I'm innocent, because at that moment, if you don't say that, you become a part of the bubble of presumption where you don't bust the bubble. You now are inside a prison that you can't touch, taste, see, or smell because these beings, they hide in the word. For example, the word angel, that is another word for message from God.
That's
So the
right.
message from God, and then the fire, for example, law enforcement, that means words that are enforced with fire. If you don't do that, well, I'm gonna put some force on you. And is that that's where these beings live, and they live in the very words. It's very ominous when they talk about some type of alien invasion. No, it's not. It's worse than you could imagine. Interdimensionality means that there's a transmitting utility. The thing that you have that you walk around in your body, and then the thing that is in between there, which is the name, and the name is so important because the name that unlocks the right. And so a lot of times, if you don't know the law, that's exactly why it is hidden. You can't see the law. It's
That's the
written.
name.
And that's why you got to be able to decipher and weigh the words.
That's the name.
It's really
100%,
it's
bro.
totally. So the reason why I'm very careful when I start off with you, when we go and get started, big brother, we'll sit down and start from scratch because I can't even really hear a lot of things because the reason why I can't hear it, I have to know what you mean and what the definition is so I can understand. Because the truth is that anybody can say these things. What does that mean to you? And then it might mean something completely different to me. Then it means what it means because these people They wrote English. They have a meaning for their language.
Thank you.
You can, and a lot of times I see a lot of my brothers and sisters, and ignorant niggas, excuse my language, they'll change the language. They'll say, they'll say overstanding. Now, one day I was in court, and one day I heard the judges, because I've been blessed. I go hang out with the judges occasionally, and then they said this. I almost done. They said, okay, so as an architect, words are meant to build things. So, for example, when there's a brother that is a long time named Malachi York, and he started talking that way. And now the whole world talks that way because he had a lot of power. But the sad part is, if I'm going to build something with you, I have to build a foundation. And a foundation that understands what is above it. And then you need to have a foundation. If you can't do that and you over me, there's no way you can understand what I'm saying if you're overstanding me, because then the thing is, it doesn't even make no sense. It's not mathematical. So I'm really like that, especially all the, I've had to go in court and help randoms. I mean, charity. But at the same time, one of the reasons why I win is because we know what we're saying. We're not in lost in Babel. Babel is where you say a word, you don't quite know what you're saying.
Okay.
And so I don't use words like, for example.
Well, hold on, Keith. Hold on, Keith. We got you. I just want to, because I want Stan to ask you a question, but before he asks the question, I didn't want you to think that I was disrespecting you, whatever. I was going through some of my notes and stuff, and I was looking for, so I like to show proof. And you're correct on words and how we're supposed to speak, because the world has been confounded. We know English is the worst language in this earth. I learned, I was in Europe. I learned some German. I know that each word pertains to something. You don't have one word. You don't have one word for two or three different things. One word means whatever it is. And this right here, let me just do it like this. This is spots. Well, let me do it like this. This is spots. Spots means black. Spots means black. So this is spots. So that is that you can't say nothing else unless you put something to like spot sickle or spots nickel or like they say flesh, swine flesh. That means pig. Pig is swine, and the flesh of pig. Rind flesh. That's what they will call beef. Rind, and they call it flesh. So you 100% when it comes to the language and how to speak. But the English language, as I was sharing with you earlier, is the same thing that how people is so dumbfounded. This is where Babel, which we all come to understand, and you could say one word for several different things. So by understanding this, the whole thing is we have to grow in knowledge and understand and really retrain ourselves. You have to go to the etymology dictionary. Now, this is what I was going to share with you, is what I was looking for, because I wanted to show it. I actually did the research, and if you look up the word gospel means God spell. God, it's a God spell on the people. And the reason why, well, I can say the reason is God spell, but the meaning is good teaching. Is good teaching is three words behind it. It's good teaching, good learning. Good teaching, good writing. It's three different words behind it. You have to look it up in the etymology dictionary. Gospel only means God spell. It's a spell. A lot of people don't know that. And that's a word in the etymology dictionary once you look it up. So before you go on, Keith, Stan, go ahead and ask your question.
Well, when I saw both of you guys kept speaking on spirits, nowhere in the Torah, first 5 books I ever saw, and with spirit.
Yeah, they don't have it in the Torah. It's called Ruach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I never saw spirit, and both of you guys talk about spirits all the time.
No. Let's slow down, bro. You just got in here. You're really late. You're really late on the conversation.
We talking about spirits. We just using English.
Exactly. And you late. You missed. You in about 1.5 of a whole different situation. You're speaking instead of asking. You just assume. You said we're talking about
spirits a lot. Y'all I'm
No,
talking
we
about
ain't
spirit, but nowhere in the Torah I saw men with spirit.
But bruh, we're talking about. Listen. Wait a minute. Hold on, let me say this real quick, Keith. Stan, let me share with you. We ain't even talking about the Torah right now. See the brother. You see, brother HDM Keith Ritter, Keith R. He know his heritage, and he ain't in the Torah. See, you came in speaking on something you don't know nothing about. You should have asked first, because he's telling. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish, bro. Let me finish.
I never saw him nothing about man having spirit in the Torah.
But you still. We're not talking about Torah right now.
I never saw man had spirit in the Torah.
They call it rock, and
I had to pause. He's speaking and he's not listening because he came on and he didn't get a chance.
I can address him though, so we can put him up to speed. We gotta show love to him.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But I have to correct stuff as it's going on, because number one is if you coming in, hold on, brother Yama. My whole point is this: if you're coming in, understand where you at. Don't come in and just start speaking stuff, because we ain't say nothing about spirit. We was talking in general about things that's going on, and you was giving your interpretation, not interpretation, your information on the inheritance. See, you was talking about what you were saying, and we wasn't talking about the Torah at this point in time. But see, someone assumed we were talking about the Torah. This is why we're supposed to sit up and ask questions and find out where we're at, where we're going, and what we're talking about. But go ahead, Finn, and then Stan, come in a few minutes. But let Keith go ahead and let Yama.
Well, just to tell Stan this, we was using English because that's what we got to speak, and if we go into the Hebrew, which we can do, we can go talk to Hebrew. When they translated it, the English word is a compound word. It means to breathe, end. It's spirit. It's a compound word. That's all we was talking about. So when we actually brought that subject matter up, we was talking about how a lot of people use words they don't know the meaning of in English, which is babble, where you're using words you don't know. And yeah, you're completely right. But since we're not talking right now about the Torah, that's where Brother Mikhail is, made sure he had stopped you. So yeah, if you can complete what you were saying, I'm listening.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, we just wanted to make sure you're on point. That's all. You can unmute yourself, bro. I just wanted to make sure you understand what we're talking, so we can be on the same page.
No, y'all kept bringing up spirit. Spirit didn't. I'm like, I never saw in the Torah a man with spirit. And I asked you guys that. That's all I did.
Okay.
Well, I'm misunderstanding, but I never saw man having spirit.
Okay. Well, he just explained what he was.
Well, man has spirit. That's all I told you. Show.
Okay, but what we're saying is we was just talking dialect about the etymology and English language. We weren't talking about in the Torah. We were just talking.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. That's what I want you to do, bro. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here, bro, and I'm glad you're in. So, Keith, either Stan, you can still ask your question, stay what you're saying, and then Keith, you can finish up as well, because we're just sharing information tonight on this point.
Yeah, and remember it's ra'ah, which is a double word, and when they translated it to English, it was spirit. And then all that means in Latin is it breathes. That's simple. That's all it means. It breathes. It don't mean ghost. And then when we go to the etymology of gospel, we'll break it down here because I got the whole old Black's Law right here. It says good spell.
There you go.
God, because you could spell good with just the O, but the O had a line above it, so it was good. And spell means news. He had
good news, right?
They had a bad spell. That means that a whole bunch of things had happened, and they're telling you that happened all at once. That's news, message, or a story.
There you go.
Spell.
That's it.
Yes. Yeah, so, I'm thinking, when I go down, I like to talk about what it is, but a lot of times we got our own language, so I don't even use this language all the time. But I don't identify with it either, so we can always slow down and make sure. If we're going to have a crowd or groups of people listening, we're all at different levels of understanding.
That's right.
Different grasp. So I just want to respect you and send you that love out. to know that, you know, we're also open to have complete dialogue, and that's kind of how we do it in our powwow circles. We open up, and we're like, each person has a chance, and we
Gotta
all
get
stay
the
on
books.
topic. That's how we have government.
That's correct.
So basically, I just was just laying. I close this out. The reason why I even brought that up is because a lot of us think we're saying something, and we're not actually saying what we're saying. We're, you know, there's something called legalese, and then they put that in the, you know, since the devil is in the detail, they put that at the very bottom of every contract, and it's such sliding small where you got to put the glasses on, because that's the English right there. And a lot of times, most people who got taught, they thought, you know, a long time ago, it's still to this day. And if you go to court, a lot of that no pro se, non pro tunc, all of that's in Latin. Pro se, like even there's still Latin in America because they still use that for the court, because Latin is an ancient tongue, and it's a lot more important than a poor man's tongue of English. And so English was, you know, they just started to use that because it's really not an easy. Doesn't have much, but you know, one thing they can do with it, with English, you can tell the contractors to show up and build tall buildings. You can get the architects, you get the layman and the payman and all of the people to come together and build buildings together, because that language is strong enough to build. But if you don't know how to use that language, it'll destroy you, and it already does.
Yep.
Especially for, say, like you identify as black. Then, you know, when I show you one day, when we all sit down, we're going to go to the U.S. government.census and .gov, and we're going to look up the definition of black. You won't want to call yourself that. And then they're going to call you that. So nobody can tell you who you are. If you let somebody tell who you are, that tells you who you are. If I walk in there and just tell you, give you an identity, and you accept it, you're my drone. You're going to do what I say. And Rumpelstiltskin, you know, you can't remember the name, you can't remember like, especially imagine I take your child, and, you know, you're rich and you have lands, and I take him to raise in my house, and I call him Toby. And he don't know nothing but Toby. He calls himself Toby, and then he has a child. He calls himself Toby too. He don't even remember your name. You see where it goes now? He can't remember what he owns and who his fathers are. He don't know what his inheritance is, because he's calling himself by a name that somebody made up.
There you go.
Because that's how serious it is to know what words mean, especially since we're, you know, a lot of times this tongue was forced into our mouths. People died and a lot of our ancestors were killed because they didn't want to take this tongue on. You see what I'm saying? So it was enforced upon us. So when we were bringing all this up, we were just trying to remind how sensitive this whole situation is, because our brother Mikhail is trying to wake the people up. And so a lot of times when I was explaining how the darkness happens, it lives in the words.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Right. That's 100% it, bruh. Because if you don't understand, if you don't know the word, and put it like that, if you don't know the word you're speaking, and you're speaking hypothetically or out your mind what you think the word is, you're speaking, as we said when I shared with you, when I changed my way of thinking. We're saying words that we think is correct, but you don't know the etymology of that word. So you're really speaking a curse upon yourself, not knowing it. A lot of people do it. And then once you start to recognize how to speak, the words you're speaking, the way you're speaking, you will feel an energy. And I'm telling you for what I know, not what I believe, not what I think, I'm telling you what I know. So by me changing my thought pattern, me changing the way I speak, me using certain words, I ain't got now one of my products up here, but just by me putting the word on my product, Lkhyym means to life, choose life. That's a double blessing on my product, and that's an energy. If y'all never have or ever heard, and I've seen this before, me and Yama or Keith met, I end up this brother sold me a DVD called Messages in Water. This Japanese scientist, Dr. Emoto, went to the springs, got him a little vial of spring water, took it in, and he did a test. His name is Dr. Emoto. Y'all can look it up. It's called Messages in Water or Messages on Water. I forgot how they said, but when I got it, it's called Messages in Water. He actually took some vials, put a vial on the table. People were standing around it. and they was talking nasty at it. I hate you, and different negative words. I hate you. You this whatever they were saying, it was all negative. He took it, put a droplets on it, and he froze it. Then he did another one, put on the table. I love you, thank you. They were saying good words. Did the same thing, drop it, put it in there and froze it, droplets. Then he did the same thing with crystals. He put, I think, well, how did he do it? No, he didn't do it with crystals. He did it with music. He did it with words. He did it with putting words on the vial. He put thank you, love on the vials. And then the other one, hate you or something, just different hate word. When he did it, took it, he tested all of them. He froze them. After he froze them, he took them out. When he took them out, he put them up under the microscope. But everyone that had the good vibration, good music, they were playing like Beethoven and things like that. Good words, good vibrations from them talking to it. They turned into a 6-pointed star crystal. You can look it up. They got the book and they got it in. You can Google it or you can look it up on YouTube maybe. I think you can find it. Messages in Water or by Dr. Emoto. Look it up. Y'all will be shocked. But this is why I started doing my water this way. When I first got that, this was in the beginning of my stages of doing alkaline water. When I started doing that, I made sure I got crystals. I got organized energy. That's when I started learning about this information. And I started doing my water like that. And people have became healthy behind it. It has helped the body heal itself. I don't never say it's a cure, but it helps the body heal itself. And all the things that I would play soothing music. All these things I would do and still do today. People that had stage 4 cancer, gone. People that had acid reflux, gone. All this other stuff that was going on with other people, it helped their bodies. Keith with Yama is another appointed person that happened with him as well. I didn't just use the quote unquote Kangen water machine. I used that plus the elements. That's what made my water, Lkhyym, Choose Life alkaline water, special. It was added.
I remember you healed that brother, the white gentleman, and he was all online talking about what you did for him. That's what made me excited for Lkhyym when I heard his healing.
Yep. And a few others. I mean, bro, Yama. I'm trying to say Yama. And next time you come up, put your name up there so I can actually call you by your name. Instead, I want to call you by your government name.
You can call it by the government for now. There's no problem.
Okay, yeah, but I like being in character with who you are. Like I said.
12 years or 15 years. It's been.
Yeah, you know we've been knowing, but you just like I'm talking.
I told you a long time ago, but you know, it's easy to, when they, it's funny when you deal with the white folks and you're on the school the first day, we just gonna call you Bob.
Exactly. But I like being respectable because by your name being Yama, I want to keep it that way because we know that I know the energy. I understand it. So my main thing is the things that I went through to come to where I am today to understand or know what I come to know. I'm just on a whole different level. So that's why when I say I understand this book, I understand it. When I say I understand the words in this book, this is Black Law Dictionary, 5th edition, right? When I say I understand the history behind the Council of Nicaea, the Council of Constantinople, and the things that they did, I know. I'm not. When I speak on stuff, I speak on what I know compared to history and prophecy. Not what I believe.
He said something crazy. He said, "Hey, this I don't care. Constantine, he couldn't be a Christian because he killed his own brother."
Who is this?
Constantine, emperor.
Yeah.
He invited all the bishops to come together because he says, "Hey, my kingdom's breaking up. Some people believe the father is the son is the father. I don't care. It's just a pain on my side. So why don't you tell them a lesser law? Y'all come up with a theology."
Exactly.
Go by that. He says, let the lesser lie be the good bomb that makes you better good for the people who can't handle the truth.
And this is where I shared that Satan has to see. Well, I'm saying Satan, but the system has deceived the whole world. And this is the reason why I have an understanding of knowing the prophecy from then till today and beyond. I have an understanding of the things that we're talking about. So a lot of things that you're saying, I can see what you're saying, but I don't talk about stuff like when you say it's certain words and certain conversations you don't handle and you don't like. I totally agree with you on that. Because when it comes to people talking about that man in the New Testament, the way they talk about him, I don't talk about him because I understand it on a whole different level. Believe me, I'm on a bruh. It's so much I come to know and understand.
I come from because I have to deal with all of them. I just love on them and just listen to them.
That's why I'm here, bruh.
To our private sit downs, like when we discuss, like for example, Abraham, right, and his son Ishmael and his other son Isaac, and then how Isaac, had Jacob, and then he had Esau first. So my thing is, I just break that down and why. Ishmael, he couldn't get the money or he couldn't get the right because he was a bastard. He wasn't married. And you can't, in English law and all the other laws, the majority of the laws on earth, the only time you can have a bastard child is if you don't have an heir. And they can take on the property. But if you got another heir, the person who was in the blood of the married, that's who gets the property. So when Jacob came along, his mother, she did some wickedness. And they created that whole thing where they contend with God. And then God sent an angel, hey, I want Esau to have it. Oh, no, I'm going to fight this angel. And then like that. And so that's what they're doing today. They be fighting God. I mean, if you really want to do it like that. But me, I don't ever necessarily argue with them. I let these people think what they want. That's their religion. Let them argue till they blue in the face. But I do know that even though it's a religion, there's some other deeper thing in it that's talking about something else.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
For example, hieroglyphs. When Rome was at the door of Kemet, and Kemet was about to fall, and they had 15,000 years of star maps. They said, how are we going to share the information? The ancient priesthood got together. How are we going to protect this information? Well, give it to a special man. Man, nah, we can't do that because man, he be, wanting attention and prideful. We can't ever, man will destroy this. So let's put it in writing. Hey, but 3 generations later, some of the words will change, the meaning will change. We can't do it in there. Oh, well, let's put it in hieroglyphs. Oh, that's great. So what we'll do is we'll put it in the tarot. We'll make the Torah. We'll make sure it's written in symbols. So the symbols will paint a picture that you can't say. It's worth 1,000 words that you can only see by getting taught the symbology behind it, so you can see the picture in your head. Because that's what's really going on. There's an inner language. And it's deeper than what somebody can say. You can't even really teach them. When you really walk down the path to the secrets of God, it's silence, and we gotta just perceive it. And that's why they made those big temples over there. I've been down there in the desert. Sometimes I stayed night doing hashish up in over there in Karnak, and over there in the Giza. And one day I went in there and went, and the whole thing shook. It's amazing. It's just amazing what they built. But my thing is that when you start to understand the hieroglyphs are just pictures, and those pictures don't tell you what the imagination is about to show you after you learn the language of the imagination.
There you go.
You're not going to be able to use words anymore because you really can't use words to explain it. Words can be just like our brother said. I hear y'all talking about spirits, and he totally missed it. He ain't even talking about spirits. We're talking about something deeper.
That and what you just said is totally correct. And this is where people miss the mark. Because, and I share this all the time as well, my bro. Oh man, let me get rid of this alarm is on. Come on. There we go. Hold on. My alarm just came on. Now, what you just said was totally true. This is, bruh, I go through this all the time. And what you just said is deeper. And what I try to get people to understand is on the same level. The spirit will show you something deeper than what people see. The spirit will give you an understanding deeper than what the people see physically or on a topical level. Or on on a layman's level, should I say? I'm just gonna say it like that. The spirit will let you see deeper, and it's all still in here. It's still there. No matter who wrote it, the spirit of the creator had them. That's why when my main thing is this, I try to get my point of trying to get and people to see and understand is this. The spirit of all spirits, I'm gonna say it like that. The Almighty, the creator, the all of alls. I'm just gonna say it like that. Huh?
I think that's awesome because a lot of times when we say Lord or
Exactly.
Almighty, instead of saying Creator, in that ancient times it's called Enoch, that or Wakanda,
Oh,
which means creator.
Wakanda means who?
Creator. It's another word for I breathe.
I got you.
We all feel there.
I got you. So what I wanted to share is when I'm just gonna say all of alls, because that was one of my words I would say all the time anyway. The all of everything, the all of all, and whether we use spirit or not for the understanding of those who understand it as that, for the all of alls who gives us the breath of life, who's in control of every single thing from what we call Genesis 1:1 all the way to, if you want to say, Revelations or beyond. It's still in control. Once the all of alls give you the notion or give you the imagination, which is what we were made out of. The image is the imagination. The imagination, when he made us in his image, the image which is in imagination is what we're made out of. He made us in his image, which is he made us in his image by having an imagination. The imagination grew, and everything we have is made from what? An imagination. That's what we're made out of. And we was formed. This is what we're formed out of. But we've made in an image which is an imagination of the Almighty, of the creator, of the all of alls. That's what we were made. So when we get that understanding to know that we are in the image of the all of alls, now we have to understand by the spirit, I'm saying spirit at this point, of the notion that the imagination that he has given us, that he has put upon us to know and understand the way we need to know according to the clues, as I always call them, that's here that people can't see. I'm there, bro. That's why I say a lot of stuff you said tonight, I see straight through it. I mean, not saying through it as in wrong or right, but I see in here and a lot of things that has been said, I see it. Because I was anointed 3 times in Europe, 3 times by the Spirit or by the all of alls. We just said like that on the sake of the conversation of where we at. Whether it's spirit, breath of life, we know we talk about the one who made everything. So I am on a whole different level compared to the average man or compared to those who think they know. So, bro, that's the reason why when I can go through here, I show the breakdown, I show history, I show prophecy, I show where we at today, I show you where the deceit and the people that were deceived at, I show it all. And I have the understanding of what was put and why it was put there and why things happen the way that they happen, spiritually. Even though things were supposed to go on a specific order, things were switched for a purpose and for a reason. And I have it. I know it. And I understand it. So my main thing, that's why I have Mikael's Knowledge of Truth on quote unquote night after Monday. That's why I know where I'm at when it comes to Introduction to Sovereign Class of Knowledge that's coming in the rising. And I know that what I've been through to help people in the position that where I'm at, and by you being through your tribal way, the way you done things through your tribe and the way that y'all, there's many ways to do different things. I mean, the same thing is just different ways to go about doing it. Huh?
You know, like we say "Hahoni he ano," which means I'm just a man.
There you go. That's right.
When you are a man and you can't see but the things of the two eyes that are in front of you, and it takes a community or group of people to see from all angles and for us to share our different perspectives because no man is given all of it.
I agree.
And God sure made it that way because then you know why he made all these people.
I agree. Guess what? Guess what, Yama? See, that's the difference. See, I agree with you 100%. One man don't have it all. That's really why I wonder why people still worshiping this man in the. We're gonna leave that alone. That's somewhere else. But the point I'm getting at is this. Remember, I was sharing earlier. I'm an open vessel. Remember, I said this earlier. I said, if you're giving knowledge, and if you're giving, I'm here to accept the knowledge. It's just another piece to my puzzle because I'm adding on to all the information that I didn't know. Is just a plus for what I didn't have. Then you know what? I'm still adding on. You know why? Because I'm coming into some knowledge that I did not know. So if I didn't know this, I got it now. But I'm also willing to give. So if I'm giving knowledge, I've come to know a lot, y'all. So if I'm giving knowledge, here, you can have this. Here, you can have, I don't want it. You don't want it?
You're nicer than me. I make you walk up long stairs and see if you can get past walls before I give you these secrets.
But that's what I'm getting at. My point is, here you go. But see, the point that I'm at is this. It's for those who want it. See, I already know it's people out here who don't want it. But you know what? See, you got to understand my promise to the all of ours. Before I went through it, before I went through my anointings, I made a promise. When I was going through my spiritual experiences, when I was in Europe, I made a promise. I said, if you brought me to the truth, I'll put the truth in songs and writing and give it to the world. It's up to the world to accept it or reject it. Now, in order for him to give it to me, I had to be open enough to accept what's coming and analyze, recognize, observe, and see the difference in what's coming this way. Now, I have to find and understand this information through knowledge, through prophecy, through history, just to see what it is that has happened, what's going on now, and what's coming. So, no man has it all, but those who gain the knowledge becomes wise. And those who gain the knowledge and becomes wise in the things that they come to become wise in, they come to know and obtain what they come to know. If a person decides to ignore knowledge, that's the fool. It says a wise man will collect knowledge. If you got books, you're gonna go. Knowledge is coming all kind of ways. If you're willing to accept the knowledge, see me, I'm an obtainer of knowledge. I got Akashic records. It's stuff that I've learned 30 plus years ago. That's right here.
I like how you talked about Akasha because we older than her.
Maybe.
Like my grandfather, this is, of course they're farther along, but my thing is when they start making the claims of the Akashic, and if you find out where that comes from, that's the Sanskrit, and that's only a couple thousand years old.
For the understanding of what I'm trying to share from what we've come to know, whatever it is that I come to know spiritually, I'm gonna say spiritually from the all, but what he has anointed me to come to know and to pick up is mine, and it's up to me to share it. And if I share it, it's up to them to accept it or reject it. But that's where I'm at. That's why I'm on a whole different level than a lot of people when it comes to this information.
So in some of our traditions, for example, just how we see it, just tell you somehow our nation sees it, our religious studies. So you're the oldest thing here. Like you done lasted long. Think about it. Your mother and father, their mother and fathers, and however long that's been going on.
Come on with it. Come on.
And what's written inside your heart, if you know how to access that type of information through breathing and right diet and study, which is not easy. And I tell you, a lot of people, for example, if you don't grow up in the temple, it takes a long time to learn it, because a lot of times when you grow up in the temple, you get all this knowledge and all that. But, there's people out there that never grew up in the temple and still learn it from the hardcore.
There you go.
My thing is, it's written on your heart.
That's right.
And you can feel it. The sugar will mess up your messages. The hustle and bustle will mess up your messages. The state of the conditions and the wrong words can mess up your messages.
That's correct.
When God speaks is not even how many we're going to heed them. And then it's not, the beautiful thing about it is that the way I see it, we're going to live forever. So, at some point, when we try to see this planet the way we want to see it, and we've been given the gift of God to be a white blood cell, the work that takes on that place. So at the same time, too, Moses had to cross that Red Sea, and instead of it being a real sea, there's a lot of shedding of blood that has to take place, because, some people don't learn in their life, and it takes violence.
There you go.
And it takes pain, and it takes bumping your head, and some people don't make it. That's why my message has been home to my people particularly. And I appreciate the sister that spoke earlier, because that inspires me to speak more with you. Because it's like, we done closed down. It's come to the time where, the doors are kind of closing, and then the rain is getting ready to start. We already got our boat. We can survive the thing. We only have so much resources in it. And at the same time, just like when you love people and you love the earth, you want to try to say, hey, there's a storm coming. You don't want to get caught in that. Yeah. And now they want to knock on the door when the rain get high.
It's too late. Too late.
Get out of here.
Too late. Hey, Keith, just like I'm saying, I've been trying to tell them, this is an open door. I've been inviting people to come. All they got to do is come. Listen, check it out. Open up. No different. Listen, have I tried to stop you in anything that you said tonight?
Oh, no. Mika, you always had a good spirit of being able to hear various opinions without taking it to heart. And then you've always been able to slow down and let's start from scratch. And then we pick up, and now we can actually build a pyramid, because we got the first brick laid down that we both can understand.
That's the key. And this is how we learn. See, and you know what that is? That's reasoning together. That's walking together. I don't like debating. I grew up in a position of that, because when you do that, you don't hear. If you're debating, you're doing this. If you're walking together, that means you're reasoning together, because I know I don't know it all. And I tell a person, I don't know it all. But what I would like to know, tell me what you got. I'm listening. And if I'm listening, and if it coincides, or if it actually resonates, I got it. That's me. That's the reason why I say I'm not one. I'm not a know-it-all. But you know what? I'm one of the ones who is mostly despised in majority of the communities I go into. They look at me. And most of those are the ones who stands out.
You got talent. Even though there might be a lot of people that know, if you have a talent to explain it, because a lot of times it'll get you kicked out when you start telling the truth. Like when I went to somebody else's family, and they invited me, and the Dominican was there saying me no black, and I agreed with them, and everybody was mad at me because I'm black. What are you talking about?
Thank you.
And they got upset, and I was like, well, once I pulled up the U.S. Census Code and I showed them the definition live on the internet from the U.S. government itself and the Congress and the OMB office, they didn't want to be that no more. But they didn't know how to go look at that, because you can live in a country your whole life and not know much about it.
But you open minds up that day. You see, the conversation had to come in order for their minds. First, you got to understand, the conversation was started for you to get a negative reaction in order for you to prove what you were saying. When you prove what you're saying, then they can't do nothing but accept it or reject it.
And you know how I am. If I'm not gonna argue with you. If that's what you want to do, I'll go I'm not trying to change it. In fact, what's coming, like you believe what you need to believe.
There you go.
You know, funny in Tumokoin, we're not evangelistic, so that's where you're going. You know what I mean? What you said is when you take a position, that's what you took, and that's where you're fated to be.
That's it.
And if you, or you know about the position, that's the power of being able to listen. Is because like I don't hold no position until we actually have a consensus, an agreement. Like I would love to just be with my brothers and sisters. Okay, well, what does that word mean to you? Okay, here's what they said it means. Can we agree on that? Okay, so now when we put it in the line, we got quantum syntax. It's just like you said earlier. Set that on the table. Me and my set gonna roll up on you. I did 10 sets. The sunset. Set that down. I didn't set right with me. Like, see how many different ways I can say the same word.
Yep.
What syntax are we talking about now? Because now you know the word. Words have different meanings today. This in languages, just like you said, ain't that great. So use the same word for the same thing in a different place. And that's how a lot of times when I talk about how that Bible is built to confuse, what they'll do is that, for example, did you know in the beginning, when you read that book, you'll notice that heaven is spelled properly in the first time, and it's never spelled again with a person, place, or person, place, or thing with a proper H. And then after the Bereshit ends at Genesis chapter 1 and 29, that's when the Bereshit is in. They added the other part like thousands, couple hundred years later, and did the Lord God thing. And so if you didn't know, when they made Genesis, that book was made from the Bereshit and some other book. And so if you don't know that, then you'll think that's the same God. And then, for example, don't get me wrong, like I'm not into it, but when I love purity. So when I talk about trying to seek God, I want to know his name. I want to know the names of God. It's just like a woman, I want to know all about her. I want to know I want to know how to serve, all that stuff, right? So my thing is that that's how much I love God. So when I found out in that book what the original name was, Elohim, and then, for example, did you know when you say Almighty, right? Even though it means something to us, you're actually saying God is Almighty. That means he's going to fight everybody because might makes right in some places. And so then it says in Psalms 82, God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. And so who are the gods? That's the congregation of the mighty. So when you have an almighty, he's above them. But then that's not the creator, because then when that God goes to talking, he says, all of you are children of the Most High, but he didn't say all my children, because the Most High ain't who people think it is. It's that God doesn't need. God is so big and so powerful and so great. There's no position you can put him in above or below, because he's above and below. He's everything. So now that you position him, now you done made somebody that's not God, creator. And just like you said, imagination. That's another compound word. Imagination.
Yep.
And image, believe it or not, it doesn't even mean what people think it means. Likeness or shadow or similarity. Like, so when we have a sun, that's a spitting image. But at the same time, when we think about the rock, just like our brother mentioned, the spirit, the one thing that we share is the breath. And we're all breathing in the same air, and that's where the messages come through. In fact, did you know the breath is closer to consciousness, and consciousness is how the breath holds consciousness. So that's how you even have a mind, because you're able to take in that air. Because the next thing under the air is the consciousness.
Yeah.
It's a little bit less learned. Well, make a long story short, knowing all these things and knowing who the creator is, at least in that book, it can get you out of the worship of the Lord gods. Because remember, the Lord God said, behold, a man has become like one of us.
Yep.
Having the knowledge of need, at least he put himself. So when the word Lord, sovereign, that, don't get me wrong, sovereigns are servants. They're servants. Like God, the order of angels, the order above them is called dominions. And God gave man dominion. And then man has dominion. And so, for example, say like we all sit here, and so, hey, why don't we go hire a husband of the earth that plant us a garden, do all that work and all that. But there was a Lord that fell. They don't tell you about that. There's another scripture about this that they took out. I'll show it to you. But he fell, and he said, let me take a man and put him in my garden, just like they took and put our people in those plantations. And if you wanted to read and have knowledge, they cut that off, so you wouldn't know that you was in a bad situation, because you didn't have no knowledge of evil. You know what I'm saying? So they don't even know that that was the first slave. That's what a fall was, because they stole and took and they formed it. But he didn't create them. He admits that he didn't create them. But if you think that's the same God, then now you're going to put that on Elohim, and Elohim had nothing to do with that, because Elohim don't take. Elohim blesses, and then, I don't necessarily say be less or nothing like that, because if you go look at the etymology of that word, it's a beautiful thing. And then, of course, if you take it in its quantum syntax, what it was used initially, that's God's that's God's that's God's desire for your greatness. And we're not trying to use that word, but my thing is, that's why I don't play with words. I don't play. If you don't know the difference from Lord, Lord God, angel of the Lord, God, and little g, because you can, in English, you can write God in three different ways and be talking about three different people. And that's the problem. So that's how they were able to split people and get them worshiping into demons. And for example, just like you and I are monotheists, technically. So there's no triune, there's no all this polytheism where multiple gods are being worshipped. But the Bible even says there's many gods. And one thing about a god, most people don't know this. In the ancient times, men would use the word God to describe institutions. So for example, say like Zeus. Zeus is the legislative building. Mars is the barracks and the police officers. Venus is the gardens. And so then you have priests, for example, you go up to the Washington, D.C. that our people built, and then there you'll see the apotheosis of George Washington. George Washington in apotheosis means he's been raised to God level.
So mainly what you're saying is the word that they use then is what they're using today, like person. A person is a person, place, a thing is a thing, like a building or something like that.
Person is a transmitting utility
Uh-huh.
of involved. That means that, for example, say like we had a river, right? And back in the day, used to piss and shit and destroy the river and cut the trees down, because the river wasn't seen as a person. As soon as it got persona, then they start suing those people that did that, throwing them in jail. So you can just piss and shit on her no more. So then, because she became a person, she had a bank account, she started looking clean and fresh, because she's a person now. That means that they gave her rights. That means that they fought for her rights. That's what a person is.
Mm.
And of course, as persona is also a word that has to do personification. It's what you say.
Okay.
Because we all look alike. And so personify, and it means per sound that you say per point. And then that's where you write that down. That becomes a person. And then you have natural persons and you have artificial persons.
There you go.
And for example, our nation and the United States are artificial persons, but those artificial persons are called gods. Lower G's, little G's.
And that's what I meant by what I was saying when I was actually saying person. You broke it down from one point all the way back to what I was actually saying. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And then they'll talk to, so for example, there's people that are born without personality and they get treated. For example, they just over there in Libya, they still auctioning off niggers, because those are not considered people. They're not persons. They're property. They don't have rights. They don't have. They can't. Stock can't pass on. Animals can't pass on. Inheritances. And that's what happens when you're black, because that's what it is. It's a type of animal. It's not seen as a people's. That's why when you go look at the definition of the U.S. government's definition of peoples, it doesn't acknowledge black people as that. It says that they're a race. And a race, when you look at it, the quantum syntax of what they said it is, that means stock. That means breed.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, wow, when you say that word, you don't even know the implications of what you're doing to yourself. Don't get me wrong, it ain't going to stop your money. But like, if you ever just think about it, you got all the different types. You got China,
All kind, bruh. You spitting so much clues. I'm gonna call it clues in the information that you're sharing for people who understand what you're saying. The average, quote unquote, we don't say it like this. The average black man, you heard what I said, 'cause I don't even use that word. I don't call nobody black. And somebody tried to put that in my words a few weeks ago. Man, you said black and white. I said I don't even use that word black. I don't even use that word white. I don't even use those words.
My granny said that before we met those folks that came over, we didn't even know we was black till they said it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like how they like, oh wow, so you gonna tell us who we are now? That's crazy.
That's what they've been doing.
Then, you know, of course, if you steal some children and then kill their parents and all that and raise them in your house and tell them they black, they gonna repeat that because that's all they know. They don't know that that's evil. And then two, if they in Babel, they're not gonna know because they're not gonna know the definition of things. They're just gonna be using words that don't mean anything. It's just they're not gonna have a definition. That's why only a few people practice law. That's why you got to go get an attorney to get attornment. Because
Exactly.
you can be turned over to another lord because you can't protect yourself. You don't know the law. And then you already know what it says in the book. That book, it says if you don't know the law, you can be taken into slavery. If you do not know the law, whoever does know it can take you into slavery. That's the rules of the planet. That's how they're going by. They go by that book.
And that's why they fall into their jurisdiction.
Well, you know, it's funny. Jurisdiction is another deep thing. For example, I march my army and I say I speak law here. I could be de facto, which means that I don't have the right. I'm not right. I'm just here with my army. You better do what I say, or you better just move me out the way. And a lot of times, most people don't know. Like, I be trying to tell people, if you go really read that book and find out who Satan is, he's the good angel that sat in the back. That if that God made him sit up front and says, nobody's gonna understand what I'm gonna get you to do because I run it all. And so you'll never ever want to put him on the same level as him, because what ends up happening is that imagine you walk in the evil path, and that's who the angel that you'll meet at the end of that evil path.
That's true.
Yeah, he's gonna stop that. That's his mission. So he having an adversary, having a slanderer. Now, for example, an adversary is different from a slanderer. The word devil means slanderer, but the word slanderer goes back into the Roman Latin, means prosecutor, right? And so to prosecute, that's what happens when you're at war with somebody, and you're going to proceed on them. You know, so they don't even know they're at war.
You know what? You just said a key word. You said a key word to the beginning of Genesis 27 and 40. You just said a key word to Genesis 27, the beginning of 40. And also Revelation 6, verse 7 and 8. You just said some key words there for understanding of what you just shared. And also Jeremiah 25, verse 15 through 38. What you just said,
I have to go sit down and go over these slowly.
but I tell you what I know. I'm telling you what I know.
I want to know what you know. We got what
Bro, I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you, you've been talking clues all night long, bro. I'm telling you, everything you've been spitting. But see, the average man who don't know won't pick it up. And everything you're saying, I totally understand what you're saying, because you was mainly making it known about what the average man don't know.
And then guess what? We don't even think about him because it's not. The average people ain't. It's not for you. You're average.
That's the reason why. That's why I'm here to awaken those who wants to come.
Where you know where they put the average people at? That's in the C class.
There you go.
On Mercedes Benz, that's the only time you want a C class.
There you go.
Yeah, but like when you riding up this mountain, it's not about ego. It's about the grace of God and get closer to Him. And you can't play around and be average. You got to actually walk that walk. And of course, that's why I'm not out here for the average. In fact, if you're not showing some sign of extraordinary, you gonna slow me down.
Now you see why I stopped the classes every Tuesday, wasting my time. Remember I said that? I said I was doing this every Tuesday between the end of November and up until May, out of between 15 to 25 people, only 5 people that made it to the advanced class. I said, I'm tired of doing this. I said, I got other things I can be doing with my time than be sitting up here. You see how long this night is, right? Imagine doing this twice on a day every week and nobody's moving. I said, until y'all decide y'all want to move.
God called you to call the sheep in, so you don't have to do all that picking and wheat tearing like Jesus did if he was real.
If it was real, definitely.
But don't get me wrong. You know what I love about that story? If you go back to the ancient times of Atum and Ray, and that's where they got the story from.
I know. I was sharing that today.
And don't get me wrong. I love that story. It's about stepping up to your calling and picking up and doing and being that love.
But see the difference in what you just said. Can you see the difference in what you just said? This is where I'm at. See, you just showed the difference compared into people believing in the real story compared to the example in the story of how you're supposed to be doing. See the difference?
Well, I understand. Well, they get you in a man worship so that you can put it all outside yourself. But that's how you get an institutional control. Because if I'm running, churches cost. You got to make money. So
There you
you go
go.
ahead and then you can't tell everybody this. Some people will cry when they feel like nobody coming to save them. It really hurts. So you don't want to do that. There's some minds that
Well,
will not take that. So you got
if
to
it's up to me, if it's up to me, I'm gonna make them cry. I'm gonna make them understand the truth. If they want it, fine. If they don't want it, they can still live in the fantasy that they living in.
A little compassion. Here's why. Because when I do documents and I help people, don't get me wrong, I can't help everybody, but some, they just won't be able to learn it this lifetime. You got to still look out for them because God puts us as their hands and their feet. And we're supposed to be there for them. That's why God gave us the wisdom. So protect them. Because they're not there. That's what happens. You know better, you do better. And
Only if they want it, because I'm like this. If I'm like this, bro. And my main thing is, like I said earlier, I don't have time to waste. Because if people choose to go down the way that they want to go down, they already there. If they already in a position where they choose to be, and I'm coming to them to try to help them, I'm not forcing my hand to help nobody no more because I'm wasting my time. Now, I am here to help. That's why I'm here. I'm here to open the door. Come on in if you're interested. But I'm not here to try to drag because you're gonna make me get. I'm trying to drag you. You pulling me back.
you are sacrificing your time, and that's what is done out of love for compassion. So you're actually playing the Jesus out.
There you go. That's it.
You know, that's what it means to be good. Like in this world, we want to share and care. That's what makes it a better place to bring unity. So anybody that's striving to bring our people together or any other people together, so-called black, to teach and because of course they've been mistreated. And then so that's the love that you have in your heart, and I respect it because that's why you and I talk. You keep your mouth open. You always reaching out and bringing people together under whatever it is. I've seen you bring New Wapians and Hebrew Israelites.
You remember?
You already know they all arguing before you walk in.
Yeah. But hey, I got them together though, right?
Yeah,
That's the key.
you understand the basics. You understand that before they became that, they was your brother.
There you go. That's the key.
Yeah, you can say, brother. I remember before your name was Hotep, or before your name was Ronald Bay.
There you go.
Before your name was Mitchell, Mitchell Baines, or whatever the new name you want to add in. You know what I'm saying? In fact, one of my brothers, don't get me wrong, from another brother, right? He I grew up, and he says, I knew you before Yama. And I said, my granny called me that. I just called you by my government because, hey, they forced those things on us. In fact, they made sure that you were certificated and tracked and named.
There you go. Gus, is there anything you want to say, Gus?
Yeah, I do.
Come on, Gus. Come on. Keith, we been hogging a little bit. Let Gus come on in and say a little something. Or ask a question.
I don't really have a question, right? But I just think about, first of all, I'm appreciative that God called me out. I'm appreciative that I'm here under this, under the awareness of some brothers that understand some things, and I can say this, when I think about like my family, and I'm talking about blood relatives and folk that that I've been around and was in the churches, whether it was the Baptist church, my parents took us out of that church and went to Catholic school, and just being raised under the awareness of what they teach. And coming to understand, just some of the things that I have become aware of, man, and recognizing that I have been called out and to be able to be here and growing in this journey, man, I tell you, man, it saddens me that many of my people are lost. Like, when I think about, even me dialecting with my mom, sometimes I share, bits and pieces of things, and I realize that, most people, all they know is what they've been taught. And if this training started while they was in the womb, whether it was, hearing, going to services and just being brought up and nurtured in a way that was not the way. At what season, at what time, though some know that they are lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really, how do we, you bring them out? Because obviously you can't come out of something until you ready, right? And understand and empathize with the fact that, though, I'm gonna be, talking with a lot of folks that don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, oftentimes when I sit in these conversations about, though, I just, still grasping at, God gave me enough awareness to know that, there's layers to this, and I'm all open ears. And again, I just appreciate you all, sharing from your perspectives. And I'm just glad to be here. That's all.
Oh man, we glad to have you, Gus. Real man, glad you're here, because the fact you're here means that it's something that you're taking in, something that you're picking up on, and then you're being more aware of something that you may have never knew. That's where I look at stuff. If you in a specific place, or if you in a place, whether if you knew it's going to be there or not, there's something there for you. I don't care if it's a sentence, a word, a symbol, whatever it is, it's something there for you to pick up, to add to your, like I call it, your collection.
And I do just that,
And if you add to your collection, that means you're growing. That's the key.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we about hour and 22 minutes in. Before we get ready to go, let me say, Keith, is there anything else you'd like to share for the moment as we get ready to close out?
Yeah, on our next sit down, I can just share with you some of our traditions. What we do is we start from scratch. I would love for us to start from scratch, where we start from zero. And also, if anybody ever does need any help, I actually help have resources to, do genealogy and anthropological research. Check out who your grannies were. Well, maybe find you some land.
You know what we gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do with you, bro? We gonna talk. We gonna talk before Sunday, next quote unquote Sunday, and we're gonna organize some things. Okay?
Totally. And I just want to say thank you for having me on tonight, dear brother.
Of course, bro. Man, I love you, bro.
So the first time we talked, we stayed on the line for longer. Nobody go to bed at 10. I've been doing that regularly for many, many nights. And so I was like up having to, we would be up late like this. So it just brings
Hanging. Me, you, on, and some other brother. We used to hang, bro, talking knowledge and gaining information.
Yeah, man. I see that you still got the juice in you.
And you know it's still here. It ain't going nowhere. I love you, bro. Sister, let me say, Yahshua Law. Is there anything you like to share, bro, at this point in time? I know you ain't fell asleep on us.
Oh no, I definitely ain't fell asleep. No, I've been listening the whole time. Man, great discussion, man. Man, I changed a lot of information. I definitely want to get your information before you get too far gone. Because I want to end up doing my genealogy also. I know I probably ain't said it right. I'm a country boy straight from Alabama. You know, so
He ain't going.
I don't
Hey,
know about it though.
he ain't going nowhere. We connected. We are. Hey, we connected. I'm glad you came on. Are you gonna be? Are you gonna be on tomorrow for the for the information?
Absolutely.
Okay. My wife, she did get your NDA. So what she gonna do? I haven't downloaded yet, but what I'm gonna do is since I do have it, I'm gonna send you the instruction sheet number 2. All right. So you'll have it. So when we go through it tomorrow, you'll understand what's going on. You're gonna be on tomorrow night, am I correct?
Right, right. I should be on for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, bruh, there's some things happening, and everything is for its purpose. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things that Keith has or understanding will make it may be good with the process that we have, or may not be. But what Keith have is for Keith, and I know that it may be good for this situation, and then it all depends on because what we got works. We got a specific format, which is more like he was saying, like a not nationality, more like a I can't think of the name, but Keith said it earlier. But it's something that you stand on and they have to go by. So I can't say the name of it. I wouldn't say government, but it's paperwork that we get. You see it, you'll understand when we're doing tomorrow night. Cause I don't know if you're gonna be able to make it tomorrow morning. Cause I gotta get off here, get some sleep. I gotta be up at 7:30 a.m. to get on for the early class. And I'll be on for about maybe 2 or 3 hours. It all depends on who all comes on and where they're at. Because if they ain't further than where we need to be, it don't make no sense to me to go through the whole thing for those who has already been here. But if they're new, I kind of go through things. If they're new, I kind of go through things so people can get a better understanding. Like I did last week. When I shared last Tuesday. So I'm glad you're here, bro, and everything is on point. And Keith, I'm glad me and Keith is back connected again. So some things is going on.
Yeah, and because I just want to throw this in there so we can sit down and just teach them the AI. The AI does a lot of the tracking, so you don't even got to do the work you used to back in the day. The AI can determine, like, find your records. It's really powerful.
Okay, well we
And
can
yeah.
check
And
that.
that was just that what I was telling him, because if he wants to go back through the past and look where there's a lot of tools out there, and it's just all I would share with them on one of our live chats.
What we gonna do? We gonna get a curriculum and make things straight where people can find it. We gonna, hey, bro. I got things set up, Keith. I got things set up. So be all I got to share with you, bro. Be ready. That's all I'm saying. Be ready, cause I got things set up the way we got an order on the way thing to make some things happen. So all I'm saying is be ready. Julia, is there anything you'd like to share before we go, my sister?
No, that's it, but very good conversation with Keith and the other brother. I think it is very timely.
I'm glad you came on tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is, and I guess Gus, you good, bro? Would you like to say anything before we go? If not, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to close us out.
I'm
First,
good, bro.
okay, okay. I'm glad you're here, bro, and glad the whole family is here. So at this point, I just like to share that I am that Mikael in Daniel chapter 12, verses 1 to 3. Yeah, that's me. Showing the holy people who they're really supposed to be, waking them out of their dead beds, which is really in their heads. For all of you who's living in the new, this is for you. I'm that same Mikael in Revelations 12, battling that red dragon where Satan dwell, who deceiveth the whole world but prevaileth not, because the horn is blown without a doubt. This was prophesied for you to see that Mikael is really me. I thank everybody for your time, your patience, your listening, your seeing eye. And we get ready to do the benediction. We're going to come out, and I'm going to get a benediction out of Numbers chapter 6, verse 22 through 27, and it states, And Yah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yah bless thee and keep thee. Yah make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yah lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put Yah's law upon the children of Israel, which is his name, and Yah will bless them. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shekevo, Vakuto Violam, Vaen, Hallelujah. Hear, O Israel, Yah our Father is one Father. Blessed be thy glorious kingdom forever and ever. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Almighty, for all you've done, been doing, and plan to do. We thank you for bringing us together this night. Thank you for bringing Keith to share his information that we can build on, to grow on, and that we all may come in the spirit of your knowledge and your information. We thank you for the knowledge we have grown in tonight. We ask you to keep leading and guiding us so we can help lead and guide others in your knowledge, your word, your Ruach, which is the spirit of your Father, and in your way, which is your law. Your holy word and spirit and all things we pray. Hallelujah. 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 Praise you, Almighty. And other than that, I just like to say, I like to thank everybody for coming. And don't forget, for the Zoom, for everybody who would like to come to the Zoom or the private classes, the Zooms are, you can get on the Zoom if you text me your name, number, and email at 770-572-5315. That's 770-572-5315. Or you can email me at lkhyym@gmail.com. That's lkhyym@gmail.com. And if you do that, text me and email me your name, number, and email, and let me know you want to get on to the Zoom classes. I will send the information in your email, and then you will accept the Zoom links, the information, and it should come up in your Google Calendar. When it come up in your Google Calendar, you should get notifications on the different dates that we will have the classes or coming together at this time. So the first, what I would like to share with you, one of the first nights that or days that we have is on the Sabbath. I'm gonna start there first. The Sabbath day at 12 p.m. noon, which is the beginning of the evening. Excuse me, the beginning of the evening at 12 p.m. noon. We're here at Assembly of the Righteous. It's called Assembly of the Righteous when we're coming together on the Sabbath, doing the will of the Almighty, going through the word, understanding what has been given according to prophecy and the things that has been said in time past and what's coming in this day and time. So that's at 12 noon Eastern time, Assembly of the Righteous. And then we're here the next night, which is the night after Sunday. I don't like saying Sunday night. The night after Sunday, we're there at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and that's Fight Fire with Truth. That's called Fight Fire with Truth, which is open conversation, which is like what we had tonight, which is open conversation, Fight Fire with Truth on night after Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Then we have, like we did tonight, we have Mikael's Knowledge of Truth. It's where I come through and I share knowledge of information according to the things that we're going through in this day and time. That's Mikael's Knowledge of Truth on quote unquote night after Monday. That's tonight at 9 p.m. Every quote unquote night after Monday. We're here. Then we are on actually the last Tuesdays, besides tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow in the Rising at 7:30 a.m. and at 9 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, as well as we're here every last Tuesday of the month until we start picking up as people start getting into their executive office or their private office, should I say. So that's on Tuesdays, which is Introduction to Solving Class of Knowledge. Last Tuesday, that is, which is Introduction to Solving Class of Knowledge, and we'll be here tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. and at excuse me, 9 p.m. Those are the Zoom classes. Now, if you're interested on getting on the public or on the YouTube and X, formerly known as Twitter, my X, formerly known as Twitter, and also the YouTubes, they are on under Juice Pro 33. That's JUICE PRO 33, Juice Pro 33, JUICE PRO 33, all together one word on that's on YouTube, which you can like, subscribe, and share to. That's on YouTube, which you can like, subscribe, and share to. And also it's on X, formerly known as Twitter, which is Juice Pro 33. All right. You can also catch us on Facebook. The Facebook page is Mikael Harris, which is spelled MI apostrophe CHAEL space HARRIS. That's MI apostrophe CHAEL space HARRIS. That's on Facebook. You can connect with me there if you like. Then you also catch us on Instagram. That's Instagram and also one of my TikToks. That's Instagram and one of my TikToks. And that page is called Lkhyym _ the Juice, which is spelled LKHYYM at gmail.com. That's LKH, excuse me, YYM at gmail.com. LKHYYM at gmail.com. I'm just kind of straightening up as we going through right now. I kind of moved a lot of stuff out the way and around the way. So that's Lkhyym at gmail.com for Instagram and one of my TikToks. Now my other TikTok and my other YouTube. My other TikTok and my other YouTube is under Michael the Juice Harris. Altogether, it's 4 words, but altogether is one, which is MICHAELTHEJUICEHARR. Excuse me, IS. One more time. That's MICHAELTHEJUICEHARRIS. Michael the Juice Harris. All together is one word. That's on TikTok and my other YouTube. You can like, subscribe, and share there as well. Now, last but not least, you can connect with me on Patreon.com and Rumble.com. Both of them /LKHYYM. Again, that's Patreon.com /LKHYYM. Again, that's Patreon.com /LKH. Excuse me, YYM. And we also at rumble.com /LKHYYM. Again, that's rumble.com /LKHYYM. Other than that, I'd like to thank everybody for your time, your patience, your listening there, your seeing. I look like over here on Instagram. Look like we had okay, Bernard W66, Dre Cut, and Dre Cut, yes sir. Good to see both of y'all coming through. I'd like to thank you for your time, your patience, your listening there, and your seeing eye. Appreciate love you. See you soon. Peace. Instagram. All right. Instagram is gone. And on Facebook. I'd like to thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. I thank, appreciate, love you. See you soon, and always. Peace. All right. We done there. And on, let's say, first we're going to say by the Zoom to my brothers and my sisters here. I'd like to thank y'all for your time, your patience. Uh-oh. You don't want to go nowhere, huh? I thought you was finished. There you go. I'd like to thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. Appreciate love, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow night, if not tomorrow rising. Gus, look like just you and Julia is left. Thank y'all. See you soon and always. Love you. Peace.
Recording stopped.
And over here on YouTube Live. How are you doing? I thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. Appreciate love you. See you soon and always. Peace.